Start building better habits for healthier long-term results. Sign up for your trial at noom.com/punchbowlnews. Again, that's noom.com/punchbowlnews. That's NOOM.com/punchbowlnews. Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Wednesday, October 13th, 2021. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, President Joe Biden is poised to sign a bill that will raise the debt limit. Now what? Number two, reading the tea leaves on Kentucky Democrat and Budget Chairman John Yarmuth's retirement. And number three, a big Ohio Republican is backing Jane Timken's primary run for Senate. All right, Jake, let's get into it. The number one story of the day, Democrats have finally figured out how to at least temporarily raise the debt limit. But where's the rest of their agenda?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's nowhere. I hate to say it for them. A few things to think about here. So today is what is today? October 13th, I guess. And that means we're like 18 days from the end of the month. That's when federal highway funding expires. The House and the Senate are out until next week, which means essentially that the rest of this week is dead. And let's just run down where the negotiations are. So Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, and Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, say they want to get the infrastructure bill and the reconciliation bill done this month. I don't know how that's possible. Negotiations between the White House and Senate Democrats and Pelosi have not resulted in a top line number. And when will that happen? I don't know. It actually seems far from getting better. It seems like the two sides are getting more dug in. I mean, yesterday you had Bernie Sanders and Pramila Jayapal, the top Democrats, progressive Democrats in both chambers, suggest that they cannot live without a massive expansion of Medicare in this legislation. They have said that, and Jayapal, quite interestingly, said that she was saying, well, people have asked, isn't something better than nothing? And the answer, quite simply, is no. So that if you are a Democrat and you're hearing that, that doesn't seem great. That doesn't seem like they are getting in better. That doesn't seem like they're getting it better into a better place or better position.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they clearly both sides seem very dug in, though. I will say, sometimes things almost fall apart before they come together. And even though they do have this October 31st deadline that the speaker has put forward, that could certainly slip. I mean, I think both of us have been saying, and me probably more pessimistically for quite a while, have been saying, I think this probably slips into an end of the year kind of crunch time. We'll see what happens with this Virginia governor's race. The politics change pretty quickly for a lot of Democrats when all of a sudden you're staring down, less than a year out of the midterm election, and Joe Biden hasn't really done a single legislative achievement here. I do think one of the other interesting things that we're noting in this morning's newsletter is that there does seem to be this softening on including the debt limit as part of reconciliation next time around. That seems pretty significant.
Yeah, it is significant. It's significant to me, at least. I mean, I asked Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer this yesterday, and they both said to me, well, Pelosi basically said, her view of it was, why aren't Republicans doing this? Why do we have to do it for them? Which is, that's an existential question that I'm probably not best positioned to answer. And Hoyer just said he's in favor of including it in reconciliation because the alternative is so drastic and so bad, and the alternative is defaulting. So I have to imagine they're just going to include this in reconciliation next time around. It seems quite obvious to me, at least.
Well, we will certainly be watching all of the twists and turns. Let's move on to the number two story of the morning. This is some internal Democratic politics. So yesterday, it was announced that House Budget Committee Chairman John Yarmuth, the Democrat from Kentucky, was not going to seek re-election in 2022. Yarmuth is an 8-term lawmaker. He's the only Democrat from Kentucky in the delegation, and his retirement, I mean, I think as we've all been noting that it seems as though Democrats are likely to lose the majority after the midterms, and certainly his retirement plays into that. But I think more than even just what his retirement means for us, we are always focusing on power, people, politics. What does it mean for who's going to be the next, leader of the Democrats in the House for the budget committee? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so let's start with what it means. I think what you said at the top is right. I mean, what is it? One of the hallmarks of losing the majority is when a bunch of chairmen retire. Now, John Yarmuth is the first chairman to call it quits, and he said it has nothing to do with not being in the majority. He wants to be with his grandkids at 75. I get that, but I understand that. It's just if you thought you were going to be in the majority, perhaps you'd stay, but maybe not. You can't get into anyone's mind. But we've seen. I mean, we wrote a book about this the last time a party lost the majority. That was 2018, and I remember a bunch of chairmen called it quits that year, and a bunch of chairmen were. So I mean, listen, it's not a great sign when chairmen start to retire. Now, the budget committee is an important committee. It is. Nancy Pelosi always says your budget is your values, and I think there's, it's a bit hokey, but there's some truth to that, right? I mean, a party's budget is the blueprint for how they're going to spend money and how they're going to. What their vision is for the country and for the future of the social safety net and all things like that. So who's going to be the next budget chair? There's two people at top of the party, on top of the committee rather, who could take that. That is Brendan Boyle of Pennsylvania, Brian Higgins of upstate New York. Now, Boyle seems to me like the odds-on favorite here. He is younger than Higgins. He is. I think the party is going to try to, if they lose the majority and if Nancy Pelosi leaves, as she has hinted she will, I think they're going to try to go younger. And I think that Boyle is not part of the old line House Democratic establishment. He's represented the Philadelphia in Congress since I think 2014 is when he was elected, and so that would be an interesting kind of new fresh face atop the party. He is, I believe, in his lower 40s, 44 years old. That is, that would be something that the Democrats would like to see on top of an important committee like the Budget Committee.
Of course, again, still very, very early.
Very early.
To your point, the question will be, do we see a bunch of other retirements at that senior level following Yarmouth? Certainly then would be kind of one of those trend lines to watch, at least in the next several months. Happy fall, everybody, with the return to school and many of us going back to the office or to even some social events coming out of the pandemic. Many of us are looking at our clothes at the scale, wondering, what happened over the past year and a half? Well, I can feel that pain. We've all tried to figure out what that silver bullet is to help us lose that extra 10 pounds. Is it a strict diet? Is it 2 days at the gym? Some kind of questionable diet or tea. But actually, one thing that I've found that's worked is Noom. So the reason why Noom is a little different than maybe some of the more typical diets is it's really a psychology-based approach. There isn't some strict set of rules. Noom allows you to make choices that are smarter. It's a cognitive behavioral approach, and you'll focus on the why instead of the what to change your relationship with eating. Now, no food is totally off limits. You can keep eating foods that you love while also learning how to maintain a healthier balance. Some interesting stats here. More than 80% of users complete the program, and more than 60% of users lose 5% or more of their body weight. So this is something that is proven to work. One of the things that I really liked about it is it was more about thinking about fuel for your body and less of restricting certain things that you could or couldn't eat. And it's a lot more flexible about when you have days that you can work out, when those are some of those days that you just don't have time. You don't need rules to lose weight, just the knowledge and wisdom to help you build smarter, more sustainable habits. And with Noom, they can make taking care of your health empowering instead of stress reducing. So start building better habits for healthier long-term results. Sign up for your trial at Noom.com/ punchbowlnews. Again, that's noom.com/punchbowlnews. That's NOOM.com/punchbowlnews. Support for Daily Punch comes from 3M, from helping drive vaccine and therapy development with advanced purification technologies to developing an adjuvant that helps boost vaccine effectiveness. The research scientists at 3M are delivering innovative healthcare solutions to help us today and prepare us to better tackle what's next. Learn more at 3m.com/improving lives. 3M Science, applied to life. Let's move on to the third story of the morning, the money game. We have a Portman raising money for Jane Timken. No, it is not Senator Portman. It is Jane Portman, the wife of retiring Senator Rob Portman, who is raising money for Jane Timken, who's running for Portman's Senate seat, kind of putting the Portman thumb on the scale here.
Yeah, that's right. And the fundraiser is at the Ricketts residence. The Ricketts, who are big Republican fundraisers and big Republicans overall, this is like a establishment Republican kind of event. But all that being said, Rob Portman is not endorsed, but might be as close as you'll get to Rob Portman endorsing for his former seat. I guess the seat he's abandoning. He's retiring. He's actually had that seat for a long time. But anyway, I would also suggest that I think you'll see an effort in the next couple weeks, months, whatever, for Republicans to try to, kneecap J.D. Vance and Josh Mandel, the two other candidates in this race. Jane Timken is, although she's been a Trump loyalist, she's seen as the establishment. I mean, Trump is the establishment now, so I think he's seen as the establishment lane in this primary.
All right. With that, thanks so much for listening. Leave us a rating and review. Share our Daily Punch podcast. It's the easiest way for people to find us. You can also subscribe to Punchbowl News at punchbowl.news. Have a great day and stay safe.